All right, just gonna get this going here. Facebook.
Miranda, be warned, there is a delay on what we record versus what shows up on Facebook by about 10 seconds.
Got you. I'll wait 10 seconds. Okay. All right. So happy PSW Day, PSWs. It is May 19th, 2025, PSW Day here at the association, of course, across Ontario. At OPSWA, we actually celebrate PSW week. So stay tuned for a lot of great promotion of PSWs and celebration as the week continues. But today is a big day here in the province. My name is Miranda Romanowicz. I'm CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and the host of PSW Podcast. And I am joined today with Alicia Muller.
Hi. Good morning. Happy PSW Day.
Yes, happy PSW Day. What an absolutely wonderful time for us to be sitting down and talking. So I'm going to give a bit of background here. So Alicia and I are not new to one another. We've known each other for over 19 years. And why is that?
Well, we went to school together at Mohawk. We
Mohawk
were,
College.
yeah, we were the Dutchies of the class.
The Duchies of the class, the PSW program, Mohawk
Yeah.
College in Hamilton, Ontario. In 2005, we started and we graduated in 2006. I was really excited to have you on today because even though I have this wonderful certificate behind me here in my office, there's people that state that I did not go to school to become a PSW, which is just mind blowing to me because I worked in the trenches for years as one. And you very well know can say, that we went to school together.
Yeah. We supported those burgundy scrubs together.
Oh, hey, man, those burgundy scrubs with the Mohawk patches. Oh, yeah, that was the day. And so I thought this was a great opportunity on PSW Podcast, and of course, being PSW Day, that we kind of talk about. I mean, you're the veteran PSWs, the ones that have been in the field through so many changes over the course of the last, I'm just going to round up to 20 years. And, being in my position, seeing the PSWs, the changes, the policy changes, the COVID-19, everything that has occurred in the last 20 years. I mean, so what have you been up to since we graduated school?
Oh, I've been working in long-term care at the same place for 19 years. Been learning lots, still learning. It's different every day, but it's enjoyable. It's fun. I have a lot of fun when I'm at work. Big time. The residents know too. If you've missed a day, where were you? I'm like, I'm sorry.
I have a life outside of work.
Yeah, they like to know it all. They like to know everything, every detail.
I think that's amazing. So 19 years in long-term care.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest changes that you've seen since you started?
Well, at least I know where I've worked, they're trying to have more staff on the floors. And it's maybe the past 2 years, it's more rare that we're working short-staffed. There's always somebody to pick up or willing to pick up the shift. So it's good. Or we get float, like the more sharing if there is a shortage and people getting their vacation. Like our management team, they seem to try, which is amazing. So I feel grateful from where I work that they are trying. But
That's fantastic.
it was tough over a couple of years, especially even during COVID. Like you're working with strangers every day, working short-staffed, and that was hard.
That was real hard.
Yeah.
So you worked right through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
Did you have to isolate from your family?
I didn't really. I never caught it. Don't know
Knock on
how.
wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. Like we had to test every day and I was always good, but yeah, I still tried my best to, be clean before I got home and limit contact with other family members. And if people were sick, I made sure they stayed away so I can go to work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I spoke with another OPSWA PSW on Saturday, Natasha Bell, she was part of our COVID SWAT teams that went into hard hit COVID-19 homes. And it's always interesting to hear from, and I call you guys a veteran PSWs, not that we're old.
So it sounds like it. It feels weird.
I know, but we're the veterans, right?
What
We're
do
the
you
ones that,
mean?
like so Alicia and I went through the PSW program for everyone that's watching back in 2005, and that was the first group at Mohawk College to go through the 8-month program for the PSW course, because before that it was only 4 months was the
Mhm.
PSW program. And from what I remember from that program, it was 7 days a week. We
Yeah.
were absolutely hammered with work 7 days a week. There was no rest for the wicked.
Nope.
No, we had an amazing group of girls. I think we didn't have any guys in our class at that time. It was all good. Did we have one? I don't think we had any guys.
No, I don't remember. No, but it was a fun group of girls. We were all there for the same thing, like doing group projects. It was easy. Like, not easy, but it was just easy to be able to learn because everybody was wanting to learn, like,
Everyone was there
Yeah.
for the right reasons. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone was there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were actually talking about, before we came live on here on PSW podcast, we were actually talking about being students
Yep.
and going into clinical situations as PSW students. And it's amazing how we still remember, oh God, how absolutely nervous and mortified and just so scared we were to mess up.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
To mess up. Yeah. Yeah. What were some of the tricks that we learned? Because I know, when I worked as a PSW, I always had this major issue with smells. I could care less. I think everything's burned out of my nose, but you
Not
know what I mean?
smelling. Not
What's that?
smelling. I remember, I think it was our one teacher, and she's like, "You just don't smell." And we all stared at her like with that she had two heads. How do you not smell? I picked up on how to do that very quickly. I don't understand it. Like, you just don't smell it, but like there's times where you don't want to smell what you're smelling. Nope. And
The most important thing is the dignity of the person that you're caring
yeah,
for, right? So
yeah,
you got to make sure that you're not going to make a face, you're not going to
yeah,
gag, you're not going to, because
yeah.
my God, I mean, I could only imagine being that resident or that patient, and
Hmm.
a person doing that, you'd feel absolutely
Yeah, it's embarrassing for them, right? Yeah.
horrific. You know what my tip was that I used? Black hulls.
Okay, yeah.
And I carried those with me religiously when I was doing, and actually in my first 2 years working as a PSW, because I put a black holes in my mouth and I breathe up
Hmm.
towards my nose, and it perfect. Now I can't smell anything, but you know,
Yeah. Hey, it works. A lot of other people too. They do a little bit of the Vicks.
that
Yeah, whatever works for you.
would never see the dignity of those that you
Yeah.
care for, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. But also getting you through the shift. I mean, let's be honest,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? You got to get through the shift as a PSW. There's some random requests, advice for new graduates.
Ask the questions, like, what can I do? Try not, I know it's nerve-wracking. Don't be shy, get in there. Hey, like, just keep trying because it is a lot to remember. You're not going to remember everything. It's going to take a few months, especially like if you're lucky and can stay on, say if you're in long-term care on one floor, it takes time. You're not going to remember every day. But ask the person you're working with, where are we going next so you can start, or what do you need me to finish? Right? Work together as a team because you need that team in order to get through the day.
Nothing personal.
No.
It's like I always, I used to have this lady that worked with me, and she had the best advice ever about when she was to go home or when she go into the workplace, is you don't take your personal stuff into the
Yes.
workplace. She would have a mental mailbox outside of her workplace,
Yes.
and she put all of her personal drama stuff happening at home in that, mailbox outside of the workplace. And then she'd go and she'd do the same when she got home, when it came to her workplace in her home. And it was
Yeah.
honestly some of the best advice I think I've ever heard, because there's too many times that, you know, yes, we're going to go through things. Yes, things happen in our
Mhm.
lives, but you're not going into, your workplace. You're going into people's homes,
Correct.
where it be long-term care, home care, wherever, and
Yeah.
you need to respect that fact. And it's
Yeah.
not about taking that important phone call from your boyfriend because you guys had a fight. When you're at that workplace, it's about them. It's not
Yeah.
about you,
Yeah. It's
I
their
mean,
lives.
really.
Yeah, it's their lives. You're there for them. They have feelings. They want to know about you, but the good things, hey? Yeah.
Exactly. So another part was, what was the best part of working in long-term care? I know I have my
Getting to,
answer. What's your
getting
answer?
to know everybody, getting to
Yeah,
know the residents, and they want to know everything about you because you're their family when you're there, right? Some people don't have a lot of visitors, a lot of families, so you're their family. You're there to hold their hand when they're having their hard time because they are having a hard time. It's different, right? That's their second home, right?
a lot of times it's not, doesn't feel like home for them. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it can be heartbreaking, but other times, when you have good PSWs who truly care
Hmm.
and make that extra effort, even though I know we're all exhausted, I
Hmm.
know, burnout is a real thing for personal support workers. You make that effort,
Yeah.
it goes a long way. Like I used to say, like, even if you
Yeah.
just smile at them when you walk down the hall, like that right there just
They love
goes
that.
a
Yeah.
long way for these people.
Big
Absolutely.
time.
A touch
Well,
on the arm,
yeah.
some recognition that they're important
Making
and that
sure
you
just the
care.
little things, even them, they have a purse, even though there's nothing in there, they want to hold that purse all day, right? Like those are important things, remembering those small things, the little extras for them.
Absolutely.
Or the clip-on earrings, just so they feel pretty during the day.
We brush their
Yeah,
hair,
yeah, easy things,
make sure they look nice.
They have
I know.
lipstick. Yeah, go
The
for it.
lipstick's big. The
Yeah.
lipstick's big. Yes, I remember that. Yeah. The
Yeah.
lipstick's big. Yeah, no, I remember when I worked in long-term care, that was also one of my favorites. And it was, being able to make a difference. I mean, it sounds corny and we say it a lot of the association, but PSWs really, you guys do make a difference for
Hmm.
people every day. You might not even need to realize that you're making that difference. And it's as little as a touch, a smile, a hi when you
Yeah.
walk by someone, and you just made their entire day just
Yeah.
by recognizing that they're there. So no, thanks for those answers. Because I
Even
mean,
the
that really is what's about.
yeah, even the bubbles in the bathtub. We're gonna have a spa bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
love
I
it.
was
They
I
love
was a
it.
bath nurse. I know I was a bath nurse. I worked at Telfer Place in Paris, Ontario. I can say where
Yeah.
I worked.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I was a bath nurse there for about 2 years, and I ended up bringing in, my son was very young at that time, and I ended up bringing in water. It was like for sensitive skin, like no allergen, like any of that stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I brought in my son's. It was watermelon.
Okay, that must have smelled amazing.
And then one of my residents offered me up her radio. And I said, "Can I use this for the rest of the bath time?" She says,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And we ended up having a radio on in the bath, in the tub room,
Yeah.
that was playing oldies.
Hey,
And we
perfect.
were just rocking and rolling in that tub room. We had the best time ever when I was
Yeah.
doing bath time,
Yeah.
It's those little things.
Yeah, it makes it more it makes it easier, more comfort. Eh,
And I think, you know what, then as a PSW, you feel like you've also done something.
mhm.
Like it's kind of, I always say to people, treat those like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Treat them like you'd want your grandparents or your parents to be treated.
Yeah.
And I'm unfortunately, my grandparents are all passed away now, but I still remember what my omas or my opas would have wanted me to do,
Hmm. I had
right?
an opportunity to take care of all three of my grandparents at my workplace. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how was that?
It was hard with the one, but the other two it was a lot easier because I don't know, they wanted me to help them. Sometimes it was kind of like I had to tiptoe. I'm like, I can't come in right now. But it felt good being able to be there for them. Yeah. Yeah.
I bet. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So another question is, why didn't you think about becoming an RPN and then an RN? Why have you remained a personal support worker?
I actually tried to go to school for that back in the day, but kept getting waitlisted. I guess the program was a little harder to get in at that time, but I got comfortable where I worked and I enjoyed it. I'd rather be doing the hands-on care and making a difference in the people's lives. I find the hands-on care is more, it's more my thing. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a
Yeah.
lot of people who, that they do go on to become nurses, and I commend
Hmm.
them for that. And I think that
Hmm.
honestly, some of the best nurses we have
Yes.
started out as personal support workers.
Yes. And you
Yeah.
notice that difference.
It's
Yeah.
a big difference. It's a big difference. And I think it's all a part of the interdisciplinary healthcare team, and PSWs play a vital role in that. And I think I said we had our huge PSW appreciation night on last
Yeah.
Friday, which was great. And it was wonderful to see all the PSWs. And, one of them asked me, like, so, but PSWs. And I said, but yeah, what were to happen? And I wanted them to seriously think about this.
Mhm.
What were to happen if PSWs ceased to exist in the healthcare field?
Oh, it'd fall apart. It would
What
fall apart.
happened? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
it would be like I
Disaster.
can't even imagine not having personal support workers.
Yeah.
I,
Things would
I
fall apart. We're there. We see everything. We report to the registered staff, like we're their eyes and ears. We do a lot of the hard, dirty work,
we
right?
do. Yes, we do. We
Yeah.
do the work that no one else wants to do.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's amazing work.
Nope, nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong
Absolutely
with it
not.
at all.
So let me ask you, what do you think about where the PSW was when you and I graduated in 2006, where it has gone and where it's going? And do you have any thoughts on where this PSW profession is going?
I like to hope it's going better. Do see we have more of a voice when it comes to things where we're working. We have people are starting to trust us more. I think they see what we do, right? Like we're there, we care for the people, right? Like we like doing our job. It's important. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm sorry.
All right. But I mean, like, when you talk about the future of the PSW, and I get asked that question all the
Yeah.
time, from where we were. I mean, I remember when we started back in 2006, fresh out the gate as, new PSWs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of those problems still stand today, even
Yes.
from 2006, which is unfortunate, and not for lack of trying on the
Mm-hmm.
association side, I
Mm-hmm.
might add. But at least now, like you said, like we are hearing from PSWs that they are being included more so and listened to more so in their job settings, which is
Yeah.
extremely promising, and that's good, and that's the way it should have bloody been for a long time, just gonna
Mm-hmm.
say.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's we get asked continuously about regulation. I'm going to bring it up
Mm.
because this keeps getting brought up at me constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so PSWs are currently being pseudo regulated, and I mean pseudo, so not real regulation like as in College of Nurses, but in regulation through the HESCAPOA, which is the Health Systems. I can never get it right. Authority. We can put it down underneath, and I apologize to HESCAPOA right now if they're watching. I just am terrible with it's a very long name,
Yeah.
and you can register right now. It's a registry, and you can
Mm-hmm.
register right now to be recognized as a PSW and work in the province of Ontario as a PSW. But there's a lot of things happening with that HESCAPOA,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things is the pathway, which some of you guys might have seen on here when I spoke with our COO Ian De Silva about the legacy pathway for personal support workers. And I know, Alicia, you and I have had in-depth conversations on the legacy pathway for the
Yeah.
HESCAPOA. And the legacy pathway for the HESCAPOA, just for everyone watching, is if you have graduated before July 1st, 2014, like Alicia and myself are June 2006,
Mm-hmm.
if you have not been working in the field, if you work for an employer, the employer can sign off if they choose to an affidavit stating that you are a PSW and you've done your hours and you know what the hell you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
or they can tell you to go back to school to become a PSW again.
Yeah, that's a scary one. That's people's livelihood
Yeah.
too, right? Like I've been at the same place. Sure, my employer can say, yes, she's a great employee. But I don't think they should be able to say you need to go back to school. How can we go back to school? Right? That's a full-time Monday to Friday thing. You have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You have bills to pay. You still got to be able to work. I mean, we're training all the new nursing students in the summertime. We're training all the new PSWs, but then we're being told, no, you got to go back to school. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think that should be part of it at all.
No,
Like,
no.
why, like, we should be registered because we need that, that protection or the public, so the public can see.
Public protection.
Yes,
Yeah. So the
yes,
HESCOPOA is public protection and the
yeah,
OPSWA is protection of the PSW. So
PSW,
there's like, yeah, we work well together. I mean, we are system
yeah,
partners, and I'm not
yeah,
coming out against HESCOPOA at all in
yeah,
this. But this is the legacy pathway is going to
yeah,
create a massive drought
yeah,
of personal support workers.
yeah,
Because the majority of us were from before 2014.
yeah, yeah, and we're actively
So
working. We're working hard. We're molding the new PSWs, right?
with the old school ways,
Yeah, the
which is
ways
not
that
bad.
work. No, there's the ways that work, right? A
Yeah,
lot of
it is
ways
the
that
ways
work.
that work.
And we're
Yep.
still learning, right? There's lots of new ways of learning, but I don't know what
Yeah.
to really say about that one yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's a very controversial
yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
And it is because it's something that I've been very vocal about because I hold my PSW certificate as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And as you know, because we did it together, worked very hard for
yes,
that certificate.
yeah.
We were saying before we came on your live again that it was like 7 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
like no life, no nothing.
No,
Like it was heads down, PSW, PSW.
yeah,
Um, and just for someone to say to me or to you, working 19 years in a long-term care facility and all of a sudden you don't have the proper schooling.
yeah, no, you learn when you're working. That's the majority of the working. It's hands-on work. You can sit in a classroom and have all the theory thrown at you, but it's not going to help you do what you have to do, right? You have the
Beautifully.
knowledge, but it's literally you got to be able to be on your feet and think.
Yeah.
That's the job.
Common sense. I mean,
Yeah,
that honestly, being a PSW is, I like it's the most common sense position in
yeah,
healthcare, I would like to
yeah,
say. However, there is a lot of theory that we need
hmm
to learn, and
yeah,
you need to know your rights as a
yeah,
PSW.
yeah,
And one thing I've noticed throughout the years as with PSWs and how things have changed is, when we came out in 2006, we came out swinging. Like there
hmm
was no one's telling us what we can and cannot do, to a degree, obviously our
hmm
charge nurses and stuff, but we
yeah,
knew what our scope was. We knew what we could
yes,
and could not do, and we knew what our rights were in the workplace.
yes,
And unfortunately, that's not the case now. And a lot of PSWs don't know what their rights are, and they're afraid because of that stupid culture in especially long-term care where they're afraid to say something. And I do call it stupid, but I'm not calling them stupid. It's a stupid culture because you should never be afraid to stand up for yourself.
right.
Um, and so, that's where we're seeing a massive difference between the PSWs back then and the PSWs now is the PSWs now are very much like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. I can't say that. And I'm like, but yes, you can because you are vital
hmm
to healthcare. You're vital to your residents' well-being.
hmm
Vital, like
Very much
vital,
so.
like
Yep.
yeah, you're it. You're it. Like that's what I guess a lot of people don't understand is that with PSWs, you're it. Like your residents, they make their only voice
hmm
is you, the PSW. You are their voice.
Yeah.
And if you don't activate that voice, then you're doing a disservice to your residents. There, I
Yeah.
said it. I said
Yeah.
it. I said
Yes. Very much
it.
so. Mhm.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you have to be very, if there's any changes in cognitive, in mobility, in urinary, in BMs, in skin,
Yes.
right?
Anything.
Anything, you have to be able to communicate that. That's their voice, is the PSW, to say, Fred has a skin shearing on his right arm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the nurse isn't going to see it if she goes in there and Fred's wearing a long sleeve shirt,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So how are you supposed to treat that?
Yeah.
How are you going to put some good Tegaderm on there?
Got to report it and keep reporting it until it follows the chain there. With
Mhm.
anything, you just got to keep on it until you get where you need to get.
Exactly.
That is a struggle
So,
too. That could be a struggle.
oh,
That
it is, I'm
communication.
sure.
Hmm.
Yep. Communication's a struggle. Is
Yeah.
that because of changeover?
No, just you'll tell your registered staff, and the registered staff, has to document it, send it to the doctor, and if the doctor is gonna follow through or say things with wheelchairs, you got to go down that route with the OT for them to assess the wheelchairs for better things, and passing on that information and following up, making sure families on board with adjustments to wheelchairs. Like there's a lot of lag with that because too, they need to be comfortable. They're in that chair very long time. A lot of behaviors can be related to them not being comfortable in their chair or pain, right? And having to really be on top of it makes a difference for the resident, but getting that out there that they're listening so those things get fixed. I find that can be a struggle.
But you still push.
Hmm.
You still push. You
You
don't
gotta
give
push.
up.
No,
Yeah, push.
no.
Always within professional boundaries,
Yes.
always the proper way.
Yeah.
But push. I mean, that's the job, right?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
that's the and you get into it because you want to help these people. So
Yeah.
open your mouth and help these people, because
Yeah.
that's
And girls can
that's
girls can get afraid because they don't want to get, in trouble for being a little too assertive at times or something like that, right? Like, yeah,
yep.
yeah,
But that's also too, like we always say, if you guys are really afraid to say something, or if there's something happening in your workplace that you're afraid to say something, I mean, and you go to your union, always, if you're unionized, go to your union. But
yeah,
if that still isn't satisfying, then you can always come to us.
yeah.
If you're a member. If you're a member, we can help you 1,010%. If you're not a member, we can only offer advice.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's why you have an association, is
Yeah.
because we do it all the time. We assist PSWs with their rights in the workplace. So yeah, no, I mean, great conversation. You and I could probably talk for hours
We
on
could.
PSW stuff. Um, but I think we hit a lot of really good. Since there's any questions here, nope, no more questions that are coming in. Um, I think we've hit a lot of really good things about the past, the present, the future of the personal support workers. I have a lot of hope and faith in PSWs. PSW Day is something because of the association.
Mhm.
And we will continue to push. I mean, obviously, we're doing a week because we believe PSWs deserve a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but PSW should be celebrated every single day. I mean, for what you do on the ground, what all the PSWs do is truly something that not just anybody can do.
Yeah.
And
And to
that's what I
keep
always say. Yeah,
encouraging each other too, even your team when you're working with your team, be there together. We're all there for the same purpose. Hey.
nothing personal. Don't
Mm.
bring personal stuff into it.
No.
It shouldn't be personal.
It makes
you're
it better when you work together.
yeah,
Big time.
exactly.
You got to
Yep,
stick together when you're at work. Big time.
yep, yep. At the end of the day, it's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you like the person when you're outside of work, but you got to like them and work with. You don't like them, you got to work with them, and
Yeah.
you got to work with them properly while you're on the floor.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like 98% of the population of PSWs are female,
Yep.
um, which can be
It can be hard, but
fun.
we can get through it.
Amen.
We're all there for the same purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just
So I want to thank you so
communicate.
much for
You're
joining me
welcome.
today. Honestly, it's been a pleasure seeing you again.
Yes, very much
Um,
so.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your service. 19 and a half years of service to the people of Ontario. That is a feat and a half, my girl.
Thank you.
So
And thank you for everything that you're fighting for and doing. Keep at it.
I'm not giving up anytime
No.
soon. Not a chance. All right. And with that, everyone, if you're not a member yet, remember, you got to go to www.opswa.ca, click on memberships. It's $20 a month to become a part of this association where you have your say and your voice is always heard. We see you, we hear you, we know what's going on. But this week, let's celebrate the awesomeness that is the personal support worker. Thank you for everything that each and every one of you do on the front line of Ontario healthcare. It really does not go unnoticed. You guys are truly the pinnacle of our healthcare system. So thanks very much, Alicia. It's been awesome to see you. Mohawk forever. And with that, I'm going to say OPSWA out. See everyone later. Thank you.